Good morning ladies and gentlemen. Karibu tena katika channel ya Skyman TV, the tallest man in Black Africa. If you have been very keen on Kenyan politics, especially the political economy, you realize that the economy is collapsing. The Kenya economy moved from the outpatient to the high dependency unit under the current regime. Things are not adding up. Everything seems to be falling apart. Nothing seems to be working. So if you are joining this channel for the first time, kindly subscribe to this channel, like this video, and comment, and also let me know what you think about the economy. So I want to put forward a number of things that clearly shows that the economy has collapsed. Things that will show that this economy is in HDU, high dependency unit. When William Samoei Ruto took over the government, let's say the economy was sickly, but it was not on its deathbed. Kile ambacho tunaona sasa ni wakati wa sakarati mauti, ambapo uchumi wetu si hayati, si mamati. Only a miracle can save this economy. One thing that shows that the economy is collapsing is the way the youth have been fleeing this country. If we have been very observant, you realize that majority of our girls are fleeing the country, going to the Middle East. They are going to Omani, Dubai. They are going to such countries whereby they are turning out to be slaves. If you go visit the immigration department, you see a behavior of activities. More than 60% of those people who are seeking passports or those who want to be cleared are young girls who are ready to leave their motherland because nothing is adding up. Again, the youth, not even the girls now, majority of them are trying to look for greener pastures outside the country because nothing seems to be adding up. No jobs in this country, no nothing. That's why unaona wengi wakijaribu kutorokea ughaibuni kule bako wana mazoea kuita majuu. The reason is that this economy has nothing to offer. The second thing that is showing that this economy is on its deathbed, if you have noted from this weekend, there is the issue of fuel crisis. A number of petrol stations don't have fuel. For those of you who are lucky to have vehicles, you realize that most of the petrol stations did not have petrol, not have fuel yesterday. And when you see these things happening, it is because the importers, the oil marketers are unable to operate. They are unable to supply the fuel. Not that there are no vehicles, not that there is no demand, but they cannot afford. What of the high taxation by the government? Because more than 50% of the cost of fuel goes to the government taxes. Fuel levies are taxed. Na kile ambacho tunaona ni kwamba wananchi hawapati faida yote. And it's not just a matter of time before everything break apart. Kwa sababu kile ambacho kinajitokeza ni kwamba, you know, in March we had a similar crisis. But this one is because of hoarding, because the government was delaying to pay the subsidies, because the government was paying, I think, Kenya shilling 21. Lakini sasa, we don't have the issue of subsidies. What there is that they are unable to market, to bring fuel to their petrol stations. It's just a matter of time. And without the fuel, you know, the country will come to a standstill. No movements, no nothing. The other thing that shows that this economy is collapsing is the debt ceiling. The debt ceiling hit 9.1 trillion against the limit of 10 trillion. What does this mean economically? Economically, though I'm not an economic expert, common sense will tell me that the government cannot borrow more than 10 trillion. If the debt crisis is now 9.1 trillion, and you see what this government has always been saying is that the former regime is the one that put this brought this situation. Lakini ukweli useme ni kwamba when Kibaki took over the presidency of this country, the economy was in bad shape. But within no time, he was able to bring everything into order. Aliweza kuleta kila kitu na kubadilisha mambo yakawa mazuri without any reference to the late Arap Moi. But now this government has been blaming Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's government. But we know that although things were not very rosy during Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's reign, mambo hayakuwa mabaya hivi. And the government is still borrowing. For those of you who follows the political economy, you realize that within 6 months, less than 6 months, the government, especially the office of the president, had overspent, had exhausted all the money that was budgeted for. Na sasa watu walikuwa wanauliza maswali mengi. You know, they were accusing Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta of drinking beer because there was a bar in a state house. When they came, they closed the bar, they brought the bishops, and according to them, the state house sasa ikatakaswa. Now sasa kile ambacho watu walikuwa wanauliza, because here what we expect is just people to drink tea, coffee and water. So watu walikuwa wanauliza, is it that tea is more expensive than beer? And even Gachagua, when you look at his office, you realize that he has also overspent. Kwa hivyo kile ambacho tunaweza tukasema ni kwamba the debt crisis is telling us that things are not good. The other thing is that this shortage of the foreign currency reserve, we don't have the dollars. And maybe that is one reason why the oil marketers are not bringing oil. They are not importing oil. Kwa sababu kama hakuna dola, hakuna kitu ambacho wanaweza kufanya. The country is in dollar crisis. The country doesn't have the dollar. The reserves are dry. And this is the situation. This is the government of William Samoei Ruto. This is the government that we elected. This is the government that is in power. This is the government that is accusing Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta for nothing. Yet we know when they inherited the government, when they took over the government, there was a lot of money in the national coffers. But truth be told, when they took over the government, kile ambacho walianza ni kusema kwamba walipata, I think they were saying they just found I think 60 million, which is wrong. And you remember during the inauguration, they spent almost 500 million. So sijui kama walikuwa wanatoa pesa hizi katika mifuko yao. So this is a lie. They were not telling the truth. So when the country doesn't have the foreign reserve, it tells you that the importers, businesses may collapse. It tells you if the country depends for all those items that have to be imported from other countries, and you see, you trade with the dollar, it tells you that the economy is collapsing. So when we say that the economy is in high dependency unit, these are the factors that are forming our discussion. Again, when you look at the exchange rates, the dollar is exchanging at 137 shilling. Unajua wakati William Samoei Ruto alichukua serikali, the dollar was exchanging at 118. I remember very well. 118. Now it is 137. In some places, if you are lucky, you can get it at 127. And now you know that since the dollar is very scarce, since we don't have the foreign reserve, since we don't have the foreign currency, and you saw now the law of demand and supply will have to apply here. When something becomes scarce, then it becomes expensive. So this is what is happening. And when you look at the exchange rate, then it tells you that this economy is in its sickbed. This economy is in its deathbed. Ni uchumi ambao umesabaratika kabisa. Again, when you ask the farmers have been complaining that during Uhuru Kenyatta's time, the government was buying coffee, was paying coffee at Kenya shilling 110, 120. But now the price of coffee has dropped to below Kenya shilling 100. This is scary. Remember, it is Gachagua who is reading this docket. Remember, they are talking about value addition. Remember, they have been talking about pesa mifukoni. Sasa ni pesa hakuna mifukoni. Kwa sababu kile bacho wanafanya ni kwamba, you know, the farmers are crying. The farmers, when something like this happens, I don't think many farmers will be attracted to this kind of business. Kwa sababu kile bacho tunaweza tukasema ni kwamba ni kwa ukweli usemwe kwamba ikiwa hakuna pesa, ikiwa mkulima hafaidiki, basi ile biashara inaweza kuwa gumu sana kwake. Ile biashara inaweza kumlemea. Kile ambacho tunaweza kusema, the government should stop fighting some companies like Brookside. And what these people don't know is that Brookside is not owned solely by Kenyatta family. It has been erroneously posited that the Kenyatta family solely own Brookside. It is not the case. And this one, you realize that they are foreign entities as shareholders in Brookside. So when you are fighting Brookside, you are fighting the economy. When you are fighting other companies like gas, and I've realized that, you know, this idea of lowering gas is meant to crush and destroy Raila Amolo Odinga's Spectacle Business International, Spectacle International Gas Company. Na ukweli usemu ni kwamba wengi hata watofauti kati ya mitungi ya gesi na gesi yenyewe. Because if when William Samoei Ruto says that he is going to sell gas, it is the gas cylinders, Kenya shilling 300. Many people think that it is the gas and the cylinder that is selling at Kenya shilling 300. That one will never happen. That one cannot happen, and it will never happen anywhere. If this happens, I believe that Kenya would be the best country to live in on the planet Earth. So the economy is collapsing, as you can see. William Samoei Ruto was not prepared to lead this country, as you can see. Rigathi Gachagua and the team are not competent. The cabinet is sleeping on the job. Nothing good to show. We look at the education sector, because we shall also analyze the education sector in the fullness of time. People will come to realize that this country made the wrong decision. This is Skyman TV, the tallest man in Black Africa. Again, I request you to subscribe to this channel. I request you to kindly like this video. And may you have a blessed day. Until next time, bye-bye.